Well, my name is Kevin. I'm a park ranger here, and this is the Barnacle Historic State Park. And this place was built by Commodore Ralph Middleton Munroe. Now, to bring you back to the beginning, in 1882, he brought his first wife, Ava, down here because she was suffering from tuberculosis, and the doctor recommended a change in climate, so he brought her down here to Biscayne Bay to help her recover. Unfortunately, she passed away. He buried her down here, and then he went back home to New York. When he got back home to New York, he found out that his 2-year-old daughter had passed away as well. So the Commodore, he was just living the bachelor life. He was lonely, missing his wife who was here. And he was a shipbuilder, ship designer, ship sailor, ship savager, everything. He just loved the whole sea. So between 1882 and 1886, he traveled back and forth between Biscayne Bay and New York. It wasn't until 1883 when he made a trip down here, he went to the old lighthouse and he found out that there was an old post office that was established in 1873. And when we go inside, I'm going to go in more details about that. So I'm not going to tell you any more about that right now. It's going to be a treat. So in 1886, he decided that he wanted to move down here permanently. So he purchased this property for 40 acres. He paid $400 in cash, and this ship right here that he built the design called the Kingfish. So the ship was worth about $400 as well. So total $800 for the property. Now what I'm told is that was pretty much a ripoff. He didn't get a good deal, but he wanted to be down here, so that's what he did. So in 1887, after purchasing the property, he built the boathouse down there. Now that boathouse there, that is the second boathouse, and the reason for that is the first boathouse was destroyed in the 1926 hurricane. Then in 1891, that's when he built the Barnacle right here. So this is our historic house, and right now, everybody right there, we all are standing on the second floor. And there's a reason for that as well, which we're going to get into a little later on. That's going to be a treat for you guys as well. And he called it the Barnacle because he designed it where it was to be built hard like the barnacle at the bottom of a ship. Okay? And then in 1894, the Commodore found love again. He got remarried. He had 2 children. Both was born in the house. Now his second wife name was Jessie. So once the 2 children was born, Jessie's sister came down from New York to help take care of the kids. So his 1-story bachelor pad had to grow. Now when he first built this, it was up on wood palings or wood sticks. So he needed more space, so he had to he jacked the whole house up on railroad jacks and built his entire second floor underneath. And here's the construction phase right there. So this is in 1926, the first boathouse was completely destroyed by the 1926 Miami hurricane. So that's what it looked like, just a pile of sticks. So he ended up losing a lot of ship designs, ships that he was working on. I mean, it was total devastation. So in 1927, when he rebuilt it, that's the second boathouse down there. And as you look, you can see these wires coming down from the building. Those wires is help holding the whole building intact. So when the next hurricane come through, the building would stay intact and the back walls would fall down. Well, in 1992, his theory proved correct. The building stayed intact, and just the back walls fell down, allowing the storm to pass through. So let's take a look on the inside now.
Thank you.
All right, so first let's meet the family. This is the Commodore. This is his second wife, Jessie. This is their daughter, Martha, but everybody call her Patty. She's named after her great-grandmother. And this is their second son, the second child, Birth. His first name come from her last name. She was Jessie Birth before she got married, so they gave him his first name from her last name, so he's Birth. And this is the family. Now, everything you see in the house, all the furniture here in the house is all the family original furnishings. This is exactly how they left it. And the reason why the state had the property, it was in the 1970s, where the grandchildren couldn't afford the property taxes anymore, so they sold it to the state with the condition that they save it or preserve it as a historical site. Another interesting thing is that the wood that the house was built from, a lot of it comes from salvage ships. And the main wood is called Dade County pine, and Dade County pine right now is an extinct wood, so you're not going to find Dade County pine anywhere. So over here, we'll go to the first bedroom here. Now this was this initially was supposed to be a guest bedroom, but the Commodore made it into his office. So the two chairs in the corner over there, that's the oldest furniture in the house. That is from the Renaissance period, and that was donated to the Commodore by John Deering from the Deering Estates.
Oh, wow.
Have you guys been to the Deering Estates?
No.
That should be your second stop now. It's another historic home, just like this one, but from the Renaissance period. Now this is a skipper ship. This is one of the Commodore's boats that he designed and built. This particular boat here is for its size. You use this little boat to get to the bigger boats that's out on the bay. Have you guys been out to the bay yet? Did you see the sailboat there?
Yes.
Okay, that is the Ebert. That is one of the Commodore's designs and ships that he built. So you had to get on a little skipper to get out there to get on a bigger boat. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, so one of the things with the Commodore, he was particular about saving space. So throughout the house, you'll see a lot of the furniture, like behind the door here, you'll see a lot of the furniture built into the walls. So we got a hutch here, a cabinet here that's built into the wall. And then next to the fireplace, those cabinets as well is built into the wall. Also, he didn't like to have stuff hanging on the walls. So this little strip you see, that's a hanging rail. That is where you would hang photos and stuff that you want to hang on the wall versus putting a hole inside the wall. Wow. Okay, so in the Commodore's book here, he was talking about, he wrote in the book that during the 1926 hurricane, him and his family was living here inside the house. And he was taught that the house started to flood with water, and the only thing he could think of to do was start drilling and boring holes throughout the house to let the water out. And I found a couple of holes, so I can show you guys. Okay. Here's one. And there's the second one back here. I don't know if you can see that one. And I'm still looking for more. But they probably covered up with a lot of the furniture and carpet and stuff like that. Any questions? You guys good?
So the house floods a lot, or just
No, just during that hurricane.
Okay.
Just during that hurricane. Now, although the boathouse was destroyed, this house here was not destroyed in the 1926 hurricane. This house here, as a matter of fact, stood up against every hurricane since the day it was built.
Very nice, very impressive.
So he really did a good job with building it. Now this area, I call this area as the butler's pantry. It might have been another name, but for me it's like the butler's pantry. And underneath this is what they call a cistern. And the cistern it collects rainwater, and then they pump it up into the house, and then they run it through a filter. And the reason why the house didn't get indoor plumbing and electrical until the 1920s. So that is how they got water. Clean, fresh, free. Also, he put these upper windows up to the top, along with the taller windows, and that helped keep the house cool. So right now, outside it might be a little muggy, but in here you got a nice, good breeze going. So now in the kitchen, we have a nice little old stove with a humongous refrigerator. Now this contraption at the top, this is the motor. Yes. Well, that gives you more space on the inside versus today they have the motor on the inside with the refrigerator, so you have less space and generate electric. Now, the main reason I did some research that the little area where you walk through, during those days, they believed that the kitchen shouldn't be attached to the house. So that's why the kitchen is not attached to the house. We go to that little small area, and this whole area is separated from the house.
Fire.
Yeah. And over here we have a grocery list for the family from 1914. And I always challenge people to see if they can read and see what some of the stuff they was trying to purchase.
Moonshine.
Everybody gets that one.
Peanut cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Pomegranate?
No pomegranate.
Vinegar.
Vinegar?
That's vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
Salt. No. Peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Peanut cookies, peanut butter. Moonshine. Leather? No. It's a leather. There's something with $33. Sardines. Sardines, yeah.
And everybody asks about the $33. My guess would be that it probably already had an account with the store, and this is just the total balance so far. I don't think all that stuff should have cost $33 back in 1940. Yes, they had store credit.
This sounds good moonshine.
Yes. All right, let's travel over to this area. So right here is where we're gonna pick up our story from the porch. This is Coconut Grove back in 1896. 20. This is the boathouse right here, and coming up to 22, that's us. And this is the entire community back then. So tell me, if you look at the name Coconut Grove 1896, what do you see out of place? What is odd about it? It's spelled with an A.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
So, the reason behind that, I was telling you about when the post office was first established. It was a guy by the name of Horace Porter. When he settled here back in the 1873s, Coconut Grove was not even called Coconut Grove. It was just another area, but it only had 2 coconut trees in it. So Horace Porter thought this was such a interesting thing that when he started a post office, he named it Coconut Grove Post Office, and that's when he spelled it with an A. So unfortunately, Horace in the post office didn't do as well as he thought, so he ended up abandoning it, went back home to his home state, and it wasn't until 1883 when the Commodore came down, 82 when the Commodore came down, that's when he discovered there was a post office here, and him and a guy by the name of Jack, they was going to reestablish the post office in the city. So they was going to name the post office Jack's Post Office, and the city was Coconut Grove was going to be called Jack's Bite. Well, when it applied to the U.S. government to make all this happen, luckily the government says, no, the post office was already established as Coconut Grove, so you have to keep the name. So they kept the name Coconut Grove, and the city kept its name of Coconut Grove.
That's great.
So now, with and that's how they spelled it with the A. So it wasn't until the 1920s when the city of Miami started to grow and get bigger, they annexed Coconut Grove and they dropped the A. So a lot of now here's one of the ships, one of the boats that the Commodore designed and built himself. This is just the model of it. It's the McCoy, and actually the pavilion that we have down there is called the McCoy Pavilion. And before that was a pavilion at the time. It was a site of a blacksmith shop was there, and a blacksmith shop pretty much acted as the community grocery store. Now, have you guys see that little dirt trail that's going? That's called the community trail. Okay, well, the community trail that went through the whole property, where people traveled back and forth through all the properties, going to their different destinations. And if you look here, this is the boathouse there, and this is with some Bahamian settlers that settled here on a property. And in the background there, you see that little house? That is the blacksmith shop. And so this guy here, his name is Parson Lafayette. He was the caretaker of the property. And a lot of the stuff in here you see is pretty much what the Commodore salvaged from different ships. Now, what does that look like, you guys? What does that resemble? I like to do it. What does that resemble, that little thing there?
Binoculars?
Not binoculars.
Which one?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember the name of it.
It's a viewfinder. Remember the little viewfinder? You know, you put the little pictures in, and then you do it auto. That was that was that time of viewfinder. I would. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
So over here, they got the light on finally. Okay, so this is the original railroad jack that the Commodore used to raise the house up with. So if you come and look in the pictures, in 1891 when he first built it, it was just up on the one story that was up on Woods Powlings. Then in 1905, he modified it with concrete. So when he got remarried and the family started to grow, this when he raised the whole house up. And then that is the finished product right there. So if you look at the house here, and then if you walk around outside, you'll notice that it's sort of different. That is because he added a library wing later on. And here's an area view of the Barnacle back in the 1950s. Let me see if I can light it. So when he first purchased the property, remember he started at 40 acres. Now we're just down to 5 acres. And the reason for that is property taxes. So developers wanted some, so we sold out to the condos over there, condos over here, and the Barnacle is steady shrinking. Any questions so far? All right, so let's take a trip up to the oldest part of the house. Let's walk upstairs to the first floor.
That's never flooded, I bet.
No.
Yeah, he knew when he built that lower part that it would flood in the storm, I'm sure.
All right, so if you guys all look up, this is the reason why he decided to build underneath versus on top. He designed this octagon-shaped walk-around attic space.
Very nice.
And then at the very, very top, that is the cupola. And what the cupola purpose is, you open that during the day and it lets all the hot air out and then cool air comes in.
Air conditioning.
Yes.
That strategy was used in a lot of indigenous huts. That's cool.
Yes, it is. All right, so we'll start over here. So before the house was raised up, this was the living room. So this space going all the way over here was the living room. There was no door there, it was just a window. So the front door everybody went in and out was this door in the far corner over there. So the Commodore, when the house got raised up, this became him and his Jesse's bedroom, the second wife's bedroom, and they have a bathroom in the corner over there. And if you look, you can see that one of the beds is bigger than the other, and that's the reason. And the reason for that is Jessie, she was dealing with polio. So over here, before the house was raised, well, let's go here. So after he raised the house up, he made the living room, that part of the room shorter, and then that's when he added the sitting room, and then that's when he put the door there. So over here was, before the house was raised up, this was the Commodore's bedroom, and Jessie, her bedroom was over here. So they had separate bedrooms, but they shared a bathroom in the middle. So when the house got raised up, this became Patty's room, and Patty was a daddy's girl, and she wanted herself a 4-poster bed. And she said, since I have a 4-poster bed, my dogs have to have one as well. So if you look down, you'll see the dog laying in the same type of bed. And that's her in her baby carriage, and that's the carriage sitting right in the middle of the room. Now this is Aunt Dottie. This is that's Jesse's sister who came down from New York to help take care of the kids. And of course this is the Commodore and the kids again. And another furniture built into the wall.
They had a farm.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know for sure, but as big as the land was, why not? You know what? Why not? I mean, people nowadays with a small lot have chickens and stuff running around. So this was Jessie's bedroom before the house got raised up. Now her bedroom stretched all the way over here. There was no sewing room at the time, so she had a pretty large bedroom for herself. So when he raised the house up, he made the bedroom shorter. That became Dottie's room, and that's when he added a sewing room here. Yes, Aunt Dottie was a sister, yes. And then of course we have a built-in medicine cabinet right here. And the last bedroom over here, so before the house was raised up, this bedroom here, Aunt Dottie and the two kids shared. So all three shared this bedroom, but the bedroom stretched all the way over here. There was no linen closet. So when he raised the house up, he made the bedroom shorter and he added a linen closet. And if you notice, Roy's room is the only painted room in the house. So the interesting thing about the tricycle, when both Patty and Ruth was young, they went to the store and they purchased that tricycle on the house account. When Aunt Dottie found out, she made them take the tricycle back. She gave them some punishment for it, and we thought that was the end of the story. Well, turns out that that tricycle ended up at another Florida State Park. And when they found out the history behind it, they donated the tricycle back to us. So now we have the linen closet here that he added after the house was raised up from this part of the bedroom. And he put a window in here, and who could tell me why would you need a window inside of a linen closet?
To dry the linen?
Clothes. Well, apparently light helps prevent mold and mildew.
Oh yeah.
So all the linen that you see here, it hasn't been touched since day one. Well, since then, so it's been here all these years, over 100 years old, and not a speck of mold and mildew on it. He was looking at this. The Commodore was a butterfly collector, so this is his butterfly collection. And going back in this area here, before the house got raised up, this area here was the kitchen. So he took out the kitchen, and then that's when he added the staircase. And then, of course, the kitchen got separated from the house at the time. And this is the Barnacle. This is what we have here. This is our little museum home. You guys have any questions for me?
Is there a downstairs?
Yes, this little door here, it takes you